The one thing that keeps most people up at night is not a lumpy mattress. It's debt. There may be situations when one has no option but to incur debt. If equated monthly installments are not paid on time, the interest on the outstanding amount will keep increasing. This keeps inflating one's overall debt and can deplete their finances and trap them in debt. Many of the people in the world actually have and regularly get into debt, either a credit card, student debt, or auto loan. The total U.S. household debt surpassed $16 trillion for the first time ever. The average American has over $5,000 in credit card debt. We see debt as evil. The rich sees as a tool. That is why the rich always think about things in a different way and have learned how to use debt to their advantage. While the goal is never to be in debt forever, strategically using it to build wealth does benefit them in the long run. Data from the Federal Reserve shows that wealthy people actually end up borrowing a lot more money than the country's lowest earners. And the top 1% of the population actually holds a whopping 4.6% of all debt. Edward McCaffrey, a University of Southern California law professor, said, "Ordinary people don't think about debt the way billionaires think about debt." Taking a new debt may seem like a burden, but when used properly with a clear plan and goal, debt can be a powerful financial tool. No matter what your financial situation is, you need a roof over your head, your home is an asset, and your home is a great source of money to help you build wealth. Even if you have the ability to pay cash for a home, it might make sense to not tie up a lot of cash to purchase real estate. You can use a home mortgage to gain tax deductions and better monthly payments than you possibly would via renting. By renting out your newly purchased house, you can even increase your passive income and achieve financial independence. Whether you choose to live in your real estate or rent it, you will likely be growing your net worth over time as you build equity in your property. Let's say you find a house that you believe is undervalued. You want to buy it, but it costs $250,000, and you don't have that kind of money in the cookie jar. So you invest $25,000 of your own and mortgage the rest. And let's say you're prepared to keep the house for a year or so while you make renovations, investing another $25,000 in upgrades. You're a savvy real estate person, and a year later, you put the house on the market and walk away with $350,000. You pay off the mortgage of $225,000, and the money you sunk into the place $25,000, plus a year's worth of mortgage payments, say $18,000, and your down payment $25,000, and you walk away with $57,000. Mark Zuckerberg refinanced a $5.95 million mortgage on his California home with a 30-year adjustable rate loan starting at 1.5% in 2012. Why did Zuckerberg opt to borrow instead of paying cash? It's because mortgages are low-rate debt, especially in his case. And there's little reason to incur the opportunity costs associated with tying up money in a property when it is so affordable to borrow. Zuckerberg isn't the only wealthy person who has taken out a mortgage to buy a home that could easily be paid for in cash. Warren Buffett and Elon Musk did the same. Buffett believes homeownership is a solid investment for individuals and families who intend to remain in the same place for many years. And the investing expert has indicated that one big reason homeownership is such a good investment is because of the 30-year mortgage. Buffett has called the 30-year mortgage loan the best instrument in the world, because if you're wrong and rates go to 2%, which I don't think they will, you pay it off. It's a one-way renegotiation. I mean, it is an incredibly attractive instrument for the homeowner, and you've got a one-way bet. Essentially, this means a 30-year mortgage works out well for homeowners because they get a low-rate loan while the bank assumes the risk of rising interest rates. If interest rates do happen to fall further, homeowners can simply refinance into a new loan with an even lower rate and pay off their existing debt. On the other hand, if rates go up, they can keep paying at the low rate they obtained assuming they got a fixed-rate loan, and their principal and interest payments won't become more expensive over time. George Soros is most famous for a single-day gain of $1 billion on September 16, 1992, which he made by short-selling the British pound. At the time, England was part of the European exchange rate mechanism, a fixed exchange rate agreement among a number of European countries. The other countries were pressuring England to devalue its currency or leave the system. After resisting the devaluation for some time, England floated its currency and the value of the pound dropped. Using leverage, Soros was able to take a $10 billion short position on the pound, earning him $1 billion. The trade is considered one of the greatest of all time, and Soros was declared the man who broke the Bank of England. Forex trading is similar to the currency exchange you may do while traveling abroad. A trader buys one currency and sells another, and the exchange rate constantly fluctuates based on supply and demand. Currencies are traded in the foreign exchange market, a global marketplace that's open 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday. All Forex trading is conducted over the counter, meaning there's no physical exchange as there is for stocks, and a global network of banks and other financial institutions oversee the market instead of a central exchange like the New York Stock Exchange. The objective of Forex trading is to exchange one currency for another in the expectation that the price will change. More specifically, that the currency you bought will increase in value compared to the one you sold. For example, you purchased 10,000 euros at the exchange rate of 1.18, the amount would be $11,800. 2 weeks later, you exchange your 10,000 euros back into US dollar at the exchange rate of 1.25. You earn a profit of $700. An exchange rate is simply the ratio of one currency valued against another currency. Leverage in Forex is a technique that enables traders to borrow capital in order to gain a larger exposure to the Forex market with a comparatively small deposit. It offers the potential for traders to magnify potential profits as well as losses. Leverage is usually given in a fixed amount that can vary with different brokers. Each broker gives out leverage based on their rules and regulations. Some typical leverage ratios are 50 to 1, 100 to 1, 200 to 1, and 400 to 1. Using a ratio of 100 to 1 as an example means that it is possible to enter into a trade for up to $100 for every dollar in your account. With as little as $1,000 of margin available in your account, you can trade up to $100,000 at 100 to 1 leverage. As a new trader, you should consider limiting your leverage to a maximum of 10 to 1 or to be really safe 1 to 1. Trading with too high leverage ratio is one of the most common errors made by new Forex traders. Trade with a lower ratio until you become more experienced. A hedge fund is an investment vehicle that pools money from high net worth individuals and accredited investors and invest in a wide variety of products, including derivatives, foreign exchange, and publicly traded securities to achieve a return. The goal of a hedge fund is to minimize risk in an unpredictable financial environment. While that seems to be a significant factor driving the establishment of hedge funds, the goal of maximizing profit is probably important too. Remember, a hedge fund works by pooling funds together for investment purposes. This pooling of funds allows a hedge fund manager to make tons of money by leveraging other people's money. Let's assume that a company called Big Investments runs a hedge fund, allowing it to invest anywhere in the world. In Investments' operating agreement, the company indicates that it will receive a 20% cut on profits over 5%. Now, 5 investors who are keen on investing in Big Investments decide to sign up, each of them investing $20 million each. Big Investments starts out with $100 million in its basket of funds. After a year of activity, Big Investments makes $50 million, giving it $150 million in total assets under management. Per the fund agreement, the 5 original investors are to benefit from 5% of the $150 million, also known as the hurdle rate, and the remaining amount is split between the investors and the firm. With this agreement in place, the firm takes $28 million of the remaining $142 million after the 5% cut. Many hedge funds work this way, while others implement slightly different structures. As a budding entrepreneur and sports lover, Phil Knight began his entrepreneurial journey on a quest to find a high-quality, low-cost running shoe. After finding such a shoe being manufactured in Japan, he borrowed money from his father to pay for the samples. Knight then approached Bill Bowerman with the business opportunity, who was his old track coach from the University of Oregon. Bowerman was so impressed that he not only invested in Phil's idea, he became his business partner. And together, they shook hands in 1964 and formed Blue Ribbon Sports, which was the forerunner to Nike. If you already have a business or are starting one with a well-developed business plan that is ready to implement, commercial loans may be able to help you establish or grow your business without using too much of your current cash. It will enable you to start your firm with better inventory and equipment. Paying initial employees more will help you attract high-caliber candidates. Gain tax benefits by deducting business expenses. Make use of borrowed money to grow your business, preserving your own funds for personal purposes. The U.S. does not impose a direct tax on an individual's net worth. Additionally, stock holdings are not taxed until they are sold. Billionaires tend to have a lot of their net worth tied up in stocks. ProPublica found that America's 25 wealthiest individuals saw their net worth grow by $401 billion from 2014 to 2018, according to Forbes. But they paid a total of $13.6 billion in federal income taxes in that same period, amounting to 3.4% of that newly acquired wealth. Whereas a middle-class American in their 40s saw their net worth grow by $65,000 from 2014 to 2018. Yet they had to pay $62,000 in income taxes, or 95% of that newly acquired wealth, according to ProPublica. For example, in 2014, Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison disclosed he had used $250 million of his Oracle shares as collateral to secure a $9.7 billion personal line of credit. Musk has similarly put up a massive amount of his equity in Tesla and SpaceX as collateral for loans, rather than sell those shares and pay 20% in capital gains tax to free up the money. From 2014 to 2018, Musk paid $455 million in taxes on a reported income of $1.52 billion, resulting in an effective tax rate of 29.9%. But his wealth grew by $13.9 billion during that time, meaning his true tax rate, according to ProPublica's methodology, was just 3.27%. ProPublica reported that investor Carl Icahn also took advantage of borrowing money, paying $0 in federal income taxes despite reporting an adjusted gross income of $544 million, as he had an outstanding loan with Bank of America worth $1.2 billion. Icahn told ProPublica that, "I didn't make money because, unfortunately for me, my interest was higher than my whole adjusted income," adding that while he does borrow a lot of money, it's not at all meant to lower his tax bill, but rather that he borrows to win. "I enjoy the competition. I enjoy winning.